January is the time for New Year's resolutions, and the number one New Year's resolution is to quit smoking. But electronic cigarettes, although controversial, should be allowed in most indoor environments, in theory at least.
I started smoking at the tender age of 16 while still at school, and carried on for many years with several short interruptions. So basically I did smoke for about 35 years, I would say. I did give up once actually for a couple of years, but then, well, unfortunately I started again. But it was like probably about 15 years before I had given up smoking completely with the help of the electronic cigarettes.
The electric cigarettes basically has three parts. The first part is the battery, which is this big part here, which when you press it comes to light. Okay. Now the second part is the atomizer. That's the one that actually creates the vapor. Okay. And the third part is the nicotine, where the actual nicotine filter is. All you do is put nicotine back on the atomizer, put it back with the battery, and you're ready to smoke. Basically the electric cigarette is, it looks like a cigarette, of course the color not, but all you do is press the button, inhale.
How does that feel?
You get the buzz for the nicotine. Doesn't leave the nasty, the smelly taste of the tobacco on your hand or on your mouth, and you feel like actually inhaled a proper cigarette.
Cigarettes are possibly one of the most addictive substances out there. I'd probably rate them as a 9 or 10 on the addiction scale.
Well, electronic cigarettes first came onto the market in 2008. They're also known as e-cigarettes, and basically they're a battery-powered gadget which is shaped like a cigarette, and a lot of them actually look like a real cigarette. And the way that they act is by releasing a vapor of nicotine and also some of the other chemicals that are found in tobacco smoke. But the companies that produce them tell us that the nicotine levels are there, but without any of the carcinogens or the cancer-causing agents that we find in tobacco smoke. So the aim is really, it's a sort of smoking replacement, and you're still getting the nicotine kick without getting any of the risks from tobacco smoking.
I'm aware that there is a product out there, electronic cigarettes, and I think it does possibly have a part to play in helping people to withdraw from cigarettes. But I think it's really only a half measure, unfortunately. I think it's useful in terms of allowing people to refrain from inhaling all those poisonous substances associated with a real cigarette, but I don't think it really gets to the core of things. It doesn't really address the emotional and the behavioural drivers behind smoking a cigarette. And so really, until you address those, you're never really going to withdraw fully from cigarettes. You may abstain from them for a while, but you will always run the risk of falling back into them.
In 2010, at the beginning of that year, the MHRA opened a public consultation, and they wanted to ensure that nicotine was classed as a medicine. This had huge ramifications for all of the electronic cigarette suppliers in the UK, meaning that many of them would have to cease trading because the costs for gaining a marketing authorization were astronomical. One point to note with that consultation was that tobacco, which also contains nicotine, was excluded. As a result of that consultation, many of the sellers within the UK decided to get together as a trade association. That trade association is called the Electronic Cigarette Industry Trade Association, or ECITA for short.
Some people have had medical advice from their doctors that basically they need to stop smoking regular tobacco cigarettes. So the healthier and safer alternative to that would be having electronic versions. Some people just like to try and cut down on the nicotine that they're actually having. So obviously with our electronic versions you have 6 different strengths of nicotine that you can use to go and cut down. Some people actually don't want to smoke normal regular tobacco, obviously because the health impact to them, but they do still enjoy smoking. So it's actually a safer and healthier alternative for them.